This is the fourth video for the mini bike Doodle with a sidecar. One of the things that I promised, if I got enough response, that I'd give a more detailed build. I thought about it in depth, and everything that's on this is easily seen and above board. There's nothing that I have to tear apart. I don't necessarily want to unbolt all this and bolt it back together. The average handyman with a little bit of direction could build this quite easily. So what I'm going to do is just give a little bit more detail in this video for somebody who wants to try it. I'll start out at the bottom and tip the bike over, and that's the important thing. And like I said the last time, it's drilled 1 1/4 inch square pipe, they call it. Now my suggestion, when you get the pipe, it's 36 inches each for 2 pieces, and you'll use the whole thing, and is to bolt it on to the mini bike with the U-bolts first before you put anything. And you'll notice this particular one is actually using the diamond instead of the flat side, but as it bolts onto the frame of the mini bike, that was the best way, because this is, you want the stronger purchase on the mini bike itself, and then you can make it do on the piece of plywood. And I actually drilled up on a bias, made the holes a little larger, and put 2 bolts and washers on that section. The back section, and I'll get in more detail of that, the back section actually shows, the back section actually shows the square. And again, that's tied on with 2 U-bolts cranked down, tightened. And then one of the sections that I had left, this plywood, the multi-ply plywood, 10 or above plies, is still springy. So in the back portion of it, I put a brace, and it just sits on here. It's not tied on with a U-bolt, it just sits here because that was one of my extras. And then I use large washers, but you'll also notice, as far as the axle is concerned, and the axle is a 5/8 inch axle, and got a 36 inches long. I cut it in half, put 18 inches in here, and you'll notice that the 2 bolts, and I'll show you those in detail. I'll pick the camera up and show you those. That holds the axle on, very strong on the bottom portion. And you notice that each one of these has very large bolts. I'm not going to get into the size and the washers and the amount of bolts. The average handyman, especially if he attempts this, can go down and get the sizes he wants. I did get a 13-inch wheel that you see on the side, and then I bolted that onto the frame of the mini bike. Now, once that's bolted on, you do a little bit of cutouts on this. The next big thing is you buy 2 Harbor Freight, 2 of these Harbor Freight roller seats. Buy 1 roller seat for the bottom to sit on, and 1 roller seat to break it up into the backrest. You don't necessarily have to have a backrest, but most of the riders, if you get on this, you'll find out you'll want a backrest because it's quite responsive. And you don't put that back in totally the same. You reverse. In fact, you'll notice when you buy 2 of these, this is the actual thing that the seat sits on. And its normal configuration will be that way. You reverse that on the bottom, and here's the bottom. You reverse that so it sits like this, and put this in the back portion of that. And then you put the seat on top of this. So that sits like this. Let me see. You set it on there like this. The back portion of it, and then that leaves the 2 square holes that would be normally for the wheels to actually secure it to the deck. And when you'll have two of these left over, and you'll notice not only does that go for that, but that's actually the hand rail. And you knock out the center plastic and I put a tube in there and screwed that down. And then for the back portion of that seat, you actually use another bottom, and it only takes one screw, and you have to drill this one, but you only have to drill through one set. You already use a hole that you have here, drill it through and clamp it down with the bolts, and put the other seat on the bottom of this. Now, this particular seat is black. I went down and purchased some covering because I wanted all to match. And again, presentation has a lot to do with this. If you just wanted to put it together, that's up to you, however it looks and how you decorate it. Also had a leftover piece of metal down the basement. I made a fender and put it right onto the grab rail. You'll notice it's still got the 6.5 horse engine on it. But as far as the, I'll take a picture of this. This is the hardware that I attached the bolt to. And again, you'll see that the Harbor Freight roller seat, you want two of those. And you'll see the back, and I'll go over in detail. That it sits this way and not the other way that they show you in the directions. Now, here's the directions, as you'll see, and you'll see this particular one, I've got it, it's reversed. Now this is the axle, and I cut the axle in half, and it's 5/8 inch rod, and as far as holding it down to this is what I used. It's called a J-hook with a bolt on it, and that J-hook fits right on that axle, and then that goes into the perforated 1¼ inch tubing, and two of those I guarantee are very strong. I've been up and down the street. I haven't produced a video as of yet on having a rider, but maybe that'll be the last in the series. I know maybe I haven't described completely everything that the common person may have a question on, and I try to be as detailed as possible, but this is pretty open, and again, you can see everything that's on there. You'll notice in the back the staples that are on the back and on the bottom seat, and you'll notice around here, again trying to give more detail, the U-bolts that anchor that. But you'll notice that the front one again is on an angle. In fact, I used the angle and bolted that down to the top as a diamond. Still very, very strong. I'm not sure if that explains enough on the build. I did take every piece that I had left. You'll notice that I upped the seat, put one of those in the seat underneath the seat here for the bracing of the seat, to raise it up another 1¼ inches to make it a little bit higher, so maybe somebody with longer legs or a bigger person could sit on it. But you'll notice down here on the bottom that I have 4 bolts, and those are pre-drilled holes already. Here's one in the back, pre-drilled holes already that the Harbor Freight seat had on it, but those were drilled for the wheels that were on this, and they were very comfortable and very easy to reuse those. So look at this again, there's another one. Again, trying to be as detailed as possible, but there's that, it's not that complicated. Like I said in the first few videos, this is an easy thing to make for the home handyman that wants to take the grandkids around the yard. Now, I've ridden this around the neighborhood numerous times now. You gotta be extremely careful and not go too fast. Like I said in the video earlier, take a left-hand turn, the wheel comes up with a sidecar. You take a right-hand turn, you'll find out the back wheel lifts up. So you gotta keep it low. Hopefully you like that. Any questions? Fire an email or a comment back to me from YouTube, and we'll go from there.